Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Alright everyone, and welcome to War Room episode number 31. We have some old guests and some very, very old guests. Well, just one of them to be specific. But tonight we're going to be talking about the latest patch notes and some of the proposed upcoming changes to MechWarrior. But before we do that, let's go around and introduce everyone. Siri, looking dapper despite that awful tie knot.
Shut up. And as always, my name is Zerothrax, and I am from Steel Jaguar Gaming. Hello, everyone.
And making his first reappearance since we made that intro video, and since the first episode, got Panic Button.
Yep. Panic Button, primary drop commander for Reckless Noobs Incorporated, also known as 228th IVR.
And fresh from their casting, we'll just introduce them as a duo. I think that was your first cast, wasn't it, you guys? We have Addy and Hyde.
Yeah, first one. Yep.
Yes, it
I'm a duo from House of Lords, and there's Heim's Shitty Tie Knot, too. Also shitty.
I'm also from House of Lords.
Clearly, none of us know how to do ties.
I know how to tie a full Windsor. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, I tie proper now, so I just don't want to wear one because it's hot in here.
Oh,
I'm
dude,
just saying we win or we lose, but we're not in it for the ties. I'll leave now.
Oh, but you guys made Arhad. You're clearly in it for the ties.
Yeah, they're clearly in it for the ties. I don't believe them.
Shots fired. Alright, guys, so,
Hey, at least we're still in Arhad.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh.
I was like, what are you talking about? We're in Arhad, and then I got what you're going. Oh, wow. We're starting off on one of those nights. Alright, guys. So I want to get the patch note stuff out of the way first, because I think the bulk of what we're going to talk about tonight is probably that PPC Gauss news that we got. So, let's start in on the patch notes with the module systems. So we got the new we got a changed module system. Eddie, are you bouncing a ball?
Yeah.
Can't fool me.
It's a stress thing.
Saw that. Being in the room makes me... Okay, it's fair enough. So we have the new module system, so now all mechs have mech modules, weapon modules, and then consumables. And this is kind of changed, like, what consumables you're able to put on, like, what mechs use. How have you guys noticed this in play, other than... Okay, really quick, let's get it out of the way. You can't re-equip different modules in the mech select. Let's all agree that we hate that, and we want the way where you can select all of your modules in the mech select. Everybody agree?
I haven't noticed, so I don't really care.
And he's like, I only
Thanks for
play the
playing
Jenner.
along. Yeah.
Alright, gavel struck, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. It'd be nice.
No, I
One
like
day.
spending 6 million C-bills every time that I go to re-equip a mech because I don't want to look for my radar deprivation in the...
Pretty
Sure.
much.
Another one.
Hey man, I've got 30 million laying around. I'm getting unspace poor as time goes on.
She's Space War people. I have 150 million.
You have 150
Losers.
million?
Yeah, Cap is like 700 million. So there's some rich people.
How many
here.
mechs do you have? Is it
80?
Oh, okay.
It's like 80.
Pretty impressive then, never mind.
I mean, I don't
You
play
guys
most of them, but
You should check how many C-bills you've accumulated. You add them all up in your stats page.
Oh, I did the math on how much time I've played this game total. Like just time in the actual games on maps. You don't do that math.
I've done
like,
it. I only have like
Is it a
400
scary
hours.
number?
It's actually
You only
not
have how many hours?
It's a terrifying
bad.
number.
It's like 400 hours. It's not that much.
Oh no, makes me feel bad.
Mine was like, I think mine might have been like 1,000. I promptly forgot it. Like I got drunk and forgot it on purpose. It's like, nope, forgetting how much time I've spent on this.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh god, okay, we'll get back to us on that number. But so, with this module system, you now have 2 consumable slots, 2 mech slots, and 2 weapon module slots on most mechs. There are some that have exceptions. Have you guys noticed a difference in this? Obviously, Addy hasn't because he only plays Jenners, but I know Panic and Heim play different mech. And Amber. Oh God, sorry, you only played 2 mechs. My bad.
God.
He only really plays one. He
Love the Jenner.
hates the Jenner.
I don't
On
hate
the other
it.
hand, love the Jenner F, and after this latest patch, just for the record, Jenner F before, 2 modules of anything. Now, I can take 2 consumables, I can take 2 mech modules, and if the weapon modules weren't shit, I could take 2 of those too. So, before you were often just bringing Cool Shot and Strike, so now you're just getting, like, Seismic and Radar Deprivation for free. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll get a clue when they see that despite giving 2 free module slots for them, no one takes weapon modules. I don't know.
so all I
love
was going to
extra
say on
heat.
that,
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
the only ones I would take are, if I remember correctly, the only ones that are useful are like the MG, the AMS, and
AMS Overload.
yeah,
There's 3
because
that
AMS
are free.
Overload counts as a weapon module for like no fucking good reason. That should be a mech module. Like holy god.
We brought them tonight on first drop. The Embers were running MG range AMS Overload.
Yeah, dude. Like, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Those are the only like good ones, because the rest of them are just like, excuse me, the rest of them are just like range for heat, aren't they?
Can you imagine if artillery strike accuracy was a weapon mod?
dear God.
Or imagine if the Gauss had one with no heat generation. So the trade-off is actually worth with the Gauss. But that's probably why there isn't one in the game with the Gauss.
No shit. Here's some
let's give
extra
the
range
Gauss
on your
some
Gauss
more
rifle.
range.
It gets a percentage heat increase. Oh no.
Yeah, plus I figure that the Gauss and the Gauss and the PPCs are being viewed as some like just absolute evil, so I don't think they're getting any
that
buffs right
annoys
now.
me.
Oh, we'll get to
Yeah,
that.
But yeah,
it's
the
that-
problem...
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say that actually perfectly exemplifies why trading range for heat on every weapon just doesn't work out. Like you have to add diversity to these weapon modules. You have to put more than just that trade specifically, because weapons like machine guns or the Gauss benefit from these types of things to the point where the Gauss doesn't have one and the machine guns do, which helps, and the heat isn't that noticeable. But the point stands, like there's got to be other types of weapon modules they can introduce that are actually appealing, because I mean, personally, I don't build any mechs expecting extra heat to be generated. I prefer not to, because it lowers my overall DPS.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the, especially for energy weapons that generate a lot of heat, you don't normally want more heat. Like I remember, I think Addy tested it out the first day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm really noticing this. This is not working out."
Yeah, and I think that...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a 1-to-1 trade of range for heat.
Yeah.
Wow,
What the medium
what a
laser
trade.
typically does is 0.16 heat per medium laser for 20 extra max range. It's kind of a, I mean, I'm in an Ember. It's an okay trade-off, but it messes with the heat profile. It does mess with, even though it's less than 1 heat in total for an Ember, it still messes with the heat profile, and I notice it. And I mean, I probably should be taking it, because, you know, poking in that mech is kind of important too, like with every light mech. But I'm just not taking it because it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know my heat values anymore.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way, Addy. For your Ember, you have... How often are you poking compared to how much you're in a brawl? I call it maybe 10 or 20%. And so 20% of the time, your poke is, like, marginally better, like, infinitesimally better, and then the rest of the time, your heat is noticeably worse.
Yeah, the trade-off doesn't really make much sense. That's the
Like,
thing.
if you really think about that, like how much you're getting over, if you compare it to like another Mac that isn't running the weapon module, God forbid, with the so you got one Mac with a medium laser weapon module and one Mac without it, then your difference in range is what, like you said, like 20 meters. So the difference in damage between one Mac poking the other, it's just not there.
Probably like 3 damage,
Like,
really.
It's nothing. Like if you think about like the only time you're going to be absolutely taking advantage of that is when you're poking from beyond the 20 meters, and then you're doing less than 1 damage. So woo. So it's like where's the like cooldown reduction for heat might be a better thing, but then that's sort of a self-defeating weapon module. Maybe cooldown for range, or there's a whole bunch of other options they just haven't put out there, and so it's really not making any difference in terms of like people aren't just start taking them except for the 2.
What I think would
To
be
be
cool
fair-
now is if I'll let you go in just a second, sir. This is a really quick thought. If you made modules, weapon modules completely modular, what you could do is you could have it so that you pick like a bonus for a deficit. And so the module is like barely customizable, so you can pick like, I want damage for heat, or I want damage for range. So you can have more damage for more heat, or more damage for less range. But then you could decide what you want out of like the 5 attributes or whatever, which would actually allow like, God, that would be like infinite min-maxing, but...
Yeah, the thing there is that they need to get a measure of value. And what we're basically saying here is that range is not a one-to-one trade-off for value against heat. What I was going to say before was, I was actually surprised yesterday on the first drop Alpine Peaks when CSJ didn't bring the ER large laser. Wait, is there actually an ER large laser range module? That's why they didn't bring it.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to check that right now, because now that I think about it, maybe that's why they didn't.
For ER larges, so no, it's only listed large lasers as I recall.
Okay, so
but
yeah,
I know that
why they didn't take it. I rescind my criticism of them.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? So weapon modules aren't being used because basically they just aren't effective. We need to change weapon modules to make them more effective. Consumables basically just means you get 2 air RD now for free, along with whatever 2 mech modules you want, but they're going to be limiting that next patch, I believe. So that
Next patch, yeah.
Right, so you can only have 1 airstrike or 1 RD strike. Honestly, I would have liked that with the old module system, but with the new one, I just kind of feel like, I mean...
Yeah. You would be cool shot instead. No thanks.
Yeah,
Doesn't really bother much.
Most of the tournaments are banning RD anyway, so whatever. But I'm already taking cool shot 9x9 and RD or air, depending on the map.
Basically. So I don't think that's going to change
that
much.
Point from before. They are going to be releasing the higher levels of the modules.
I don't think that's
but
going to matter.
I don't think this... Yeah, it doesn't change anything because the value exchange is still terrible.
Yeah,
so that's not going to solve this
The
issue.
overall direction is still incorrect.
Yeah, I
There are
would...
a lot of ideas they could do that. You know, there'd be more, like, for lasers, have decrease in beam duration. For medium lasers, I mean, range, why would you increase medium laser range? But you have a large laser range? Yeah, increase that. For medium lasers, decrease beam duration. For machine guns, decrease cone of fire, decrease damage. Something like that, make it more of an accuracy weapon than just a splasher.
Well,
There's
that's
a lot of options they could do by the time of done it.
That's what I mean about, like, coming up with a good baseline for what a point of damage is worth in heat, or a point of damage is worth in range, and stuff like that, and making it so that the weapon modules themselves can be customized by the player. Because that way... I don't know, I think it'd be a good idea. I'm not sure if that would cause... Like, you'd have to get all of the measurements correct, though. Otherwise, you'd have huge problems. Because otherwise, you're just going to end up with modules that are just trading damage for heat, or range for heat, and people won't use them. So. Okay, silent agreement.
Yeah, that's right.
They're gonna basically TLDR. They're gonna need to adjust these or add more diversity because they literally are not being used.
Other than that,
we'll equip the rank 5 machine gun one for free.
Eddie's like, I will take that. I'll take the AMS one. Oh, NARC. Somebody pointed out in chat that the NARC one is hella good too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Doesn't that one increase duration or something?
I don't know.
Yes, it does.
Well, is the NARC, like, is the crazy NARC module something that is that a weapon module as well, like AMS overload?
I think that's what we're saying here.
God.
Rebooting game, double check. That's
ridiculous. Okay. But so other than that, do you guys like the new module system, other than the weapon modules?
Yeah, it in general is a buff to most mechs. It was nerfed to some, like the Raven 3L, which it still hits 4, but they're not mech modules, and Raven 3L used those.
Yep,
so.
Pretty much.
DDC also got nerfed, I think.
I disagree with some of their allocations of the modules to different mechs. Most everything gets that 222, but there are some, like, the Cent A, the best Cent, gets more than everything else, than all the other. I
feel like they're going to go back and revisit that and use that to sort of tune the mechs as far as functionality, though. I think that'd be a good thing to do. That would give you that like role warfare where you've got the information warrior light max running around with a bunch of consumables or something like, or a bunch of consumable modules or something like that. Like they do UAVs and sensor modules, whereas other Mechs might have more weapon modules, but not a lot of the others. As it stands, it is kind of flat.
Yep. Unless anybody else has any more points, I just want to quick mention fall damage, because we got slight changes to that. Anybody else have anything else about modules? Boss? So fall damage, light mechs start taking damage at 37 meters per second, mediums at 34, heavies at 32, and assaults at 30. Honestly, haven't noticed any difference in heavy, mediums, or assaults, obviously, because heavies didn't change. But what about lights? Has that been noticeably easier?
Yep. I
I'd say
used to
so,
run the fall damage module, whatever it was called. I don't remember. Shock absorber or something. I used to run that on Amber because you could just do constant chip damage, like on Alpine Hill or Crimson Strait and Mountain thing. Frozen City was especially bad because you would just, like, where Epsilon was, you would just take constant chip damage for some reason there because of the hills. Anyway, I don't need to run that anymore because I don't take chip damage anymore. So yeah, it worked out pretty nicely.
Okay.
The biggest buff there is that they changed it from 30 feet per second to 30 meters per second. I mean, it's a huge increase. So
it wasn't. The thing is, it wasn't technically, yeah, but it wasn't. The game was already in meters per second, so it was a wrong label.
We were just
because
joking
gravity is 32 meters per second.
We're just joking that it was so stupid for that to be in feet per second, whereas everything else measured in meters per second. You know that feet and meters conversion crashes satellites. We don't want to do that.
The thing that made me laugh was the tweet that was like, most of the people who play this game use the Imperial system, and I was like, nah, you just messed up. Like, just change it back. It's okay. Come on. We're not gonna judge you. Just change it back. Okay, so that's been on boost for lights. I guess I haven't really noticed it that much in mediums, heavies, or assaults. But I would still like to see them ramp up the damage once you go past that threshold, because I don't feel that the damage as you get up to higher meters per second is high enough. I think that if you're hitting at like 100 meters per second, you should be taking some serious leg damage, but that's my only complaint right now. So past fall damage, we have the new IS quirks, which were quirks developed for IS mechs to sort of balance IS mechs in the way that they balance clan mechs. So clan components have quirks associated with them, the omnipods do, to allow certain worse omnipods to be used for a reduction in heat or energy cooldown, stuff like that. So the IS quirks that we have are all Centurions got plus 10 armor in the left arm, all Hunchbacks got plus 10 internal structure in the right torso, all Awesomes got minus 10 heat generation by energy weapons, 10% faster heat loss, and 17% front torso armor. All Dragons got a minus 5% cooldown rate with ballistics, a minus 5 heat generation from ballistics, and a 10% torso twist yaw speed.
Sorry, I actually had one more point on the fall damage.
God damn it, Siri!
I just ran the math!
Fuck!
I just ran the math. Old
show.
fall damage for light, it triggered at 16 meters of fall, of like distance. Now, it triggers at 24.3. So you can fall 50% further.
That's very good.
That is pretty good.
Yep. I still think there should be higher punishments for falling farther, though.
Well, it's because they've set it off of the velocity and not off the distance, so.
Just use the formula for like force and apply that
Shouldn't
into a
those be the
damage
same?
formula.
Distance?
No,
I know,
because
but it's like, why? I guess they're not
squared.
free fall. Yeah, never mind. That's I wasn't thinking.
And then you can use that same formula to apply to death from above and stuff like that. All right, now that Siri ruined that transition, quirks. All right, so start with the one that I think everybody's excited about. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Who wants to run them now?
I was trolling around in a 9M, but it's still the same mech. It's still a huge barn door. You get wrecked.
You got Highlander CT armor though.
Damn it.
Nice.
Yeah, right. You got huge Highlander CT armor, but I don't know. I don't know. I had fun. I did have fun in it. We weren't queuing against anyone serious, but I doubt that it's going to be. It just never had the hitboxes. It doesn't have the weapon hard points. I mean, maybe with some again, like I love the breeding ground, the cesspool rather that is Merrick Civil War, and allowing us to run a bunch of dumb bullshit sometimes. So maybe, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but I really doubt that that's going to actually make an appearance.
Wasn't the highest damage mech in Season 2 in Awesome?
Yeah, because it was Lerm boats and it was shot all over the other team.
LRM boats.
I thought so.
Yeah.
There's some nice laser drill builds you can do, like 2 large pulse, 5 mediums, and I think like 2 large and 4 mediums on the 9M if you want to go fast and die to an XL. But it's still, like Panic was saying, a barn door.
But you turn sideways in Blade of Grass, so you just got to master that and you're good to go. But no matter where you turn, there's always going to be probably a mech looking at you shooting. So.
Yeah, half the problem is when you turn sideways, though, that your side torsos are still exposed.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
They need to
running
up the arm hitboxes, bigger shields, please. Thanks.
shoulder pads.
Just make those shoulder pads absolutely huge, like they are on the Battlemaster.
Because, for example, this whole XL standard engine problem, in another 80-ton mech, the Dragon Slayer, you can load an XL like 350 and put 3 PPCs and as many heat sinks as you can fit, and it's decent heat efficiency. And if you had those quirks that the Awesome has on that 3 PPC Dragon Slayer, it might not be too bad. But, you know, the issue is, like we were saying, the Awesome has no jump jets. It's like a barn. And if you do run an XL now, like the Dragon Slayer can, to get those 3 PPCs in there properly, the Awesome will die very fast if it has an XL still. Like, the CT just isn't
miraculously quick.
Yeah, it's the model size, and I understand the quirks are trying to mitigate that, but when a mech is improperly sized, these types of things happen. I literally don't think there's much else they could do except just put percentage plus armor on the whole entire mech and make it a better mech, but then that's just bad balancing. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you, what happens if instead of how much was it, 15% CT?
17%?
17% CT, it had been like a 20% for each side torso.
They actually, when they redid the hitboxes, they made that center torso a tiny bit skinnier, if I remember correctly. So that
makes sense.
That would make sense, yeah. So I remember, and actually, I think Homeless Bill was someone who pointed out, saying, like, you could run an XL in the Awesome, you know, even though it was a bad mech. Now you just straight up can't run an XL in the Pretty Baby, for example, because the side torsos just get blown out immediately.
Yep.
Like,
please buff the Awesome again. I would like to use my Pretty Baby. It is currently collecting dust. It'd be fantastic.
Well, so
just to be able to run it in solo queue. I don't want to compete with it. I just want to be able to run it and not get killed.
So,
the first 20 minutes.
I don't want to.
First 20 seconds, rather.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but what do you guys think? What do you think is too far in terms of these quirks? In terms of, so like, say next patch they come out with 10% more armor on each front torso for the Awesome. Like, is that too far? Like, at what point is adding armor detrimental to a mech despite trying to make it balanced? Like, so like, what are the downsides to adding armor to mechs to put them in a viable place?
Probably bumping it up like 20%. I think would be the limit, honestly.
I don't even think. I think 1% was too much. I mean, to be honest, like let's think about this for a second. Let's take a step back and think about what the quirks are for clan mechs. You got overheat damage increase. You got twist speed, yaw, all that jazz. I think there might be one that has like more internal structure or less internal structure. It's the Stormcrow head that has a laser in it. Gives you less head internal structure. But there's nothing that gives you, like, I don't think there's anything that gives you plus armor. That's just, in my opinion, that's kind of stupid. That's a band-aid. You need to go back and do a pass on something else to fix the issue of it, like, you know, having, if it's got bad freaking hitboxes, like, you know, massive torsos or whatever, you go back and do a pass to fix that. But I think there needs to be something else. That the heat quirks for the Awesome were pretty good, I thought. Like, that's kind of what that's what that mech is geared for. It's a giant laser boat, so I thought that was pretty cool. But the CT armor, I was just kind of like, what? Isn't that just like, you know, sort of like, oh well, you know, we made this mech has bad hitboxes. It's enormous. It's, you know, people like piloting a fucking building, so I guess we'll put some more armor on the CT and hope it works. So I mean, just go back and do a pass. I mean, Awesome is one of the mechs, along with the Cataphract, that hasn't had a model pass in about a year plus or whatever. So it's still got the big goofy looking. I mean, I love the Awesome PPC holes, and if they get rid of those massive PPC, like, you know, the massive holes in its front, I'll be really upset. But at the same time, it definitely needs that pass to go back over it. And when they do that, they should be able to fix some of the hitbox issues, I think. If they don't, they'd be kind of silly. And that's how you need to fix the survivability issue. The rest of the quirks need to be not geared towards armor. The hunchback torso thing, the internal structure is fine, but I feel like the external armor is a band-aid just for poor design.
See, I'll agree with that last statement. It is a band-aid for poor design. But the other hand is, I don't feel there's much of a way you can fix that beyond like redoing it from scratch, like art. And that's also getting away from, am I really saying this? From
we have no new mechs
what
till
it looks like.
We have no new mechs till like December.
Shut up.
Really? We don't have... What?
Plan mech, like,
I think you
they're not
swing
going to
for the
release
fences with
just
it.
gonna be plan
If
mechs.
that's what it takes to make an awesome not shit is like a 20% armor buff, then do it. But you should. Where I draw the line is where you over buff something to the point where it's our new Timberwolf.
Fair enough.
So, I like it's good. It brings these up to less shit.
So put that. Can I put redesigning it in the bin for like after Community Warfare and all that jazz is out and they go back and finally like actually bother to balance the game from the ground up?
Oh yeah, but if we're gonna take a step back, there's two departments here.
We're not
There's
going the
because
step back department. We'll talk for an hour about like, well, after Community Warfare comes out, we want this and this and
No, it's good.
oh, we'd love
Fine.
this
That's
and
fine. Yeah, no. I was just thinking it like that. I just feel like that they should try to avoid doing that like armor thing as much as possible, unless they really just feel like they've jacked it up or they've, if you screwed something up so bad that you need to give it an armor buff, that needs to go in a bin as like this is probably a poor design, but do it for now or whatever, make it viable or make it not not OP but viable, but then focus more on. I like to see more like the energy cooldown and energy heat reduction, because again, some of those mechs have like certain roles they're supposed to play. The Awesome is supposed to be able to mount 3 PPCs. Damn it, that's a stock build. So,
well, I would
being
say
able to
something
handle
that
the heat from that is, I think, just goes with the territory.
if we're talking about the Awesome, just something basic that would really help is, doesn't the Awesome have unusable weapon slots? It's like it's like the only mech where you have like a missile and 2 energy spots in your CT. So you're physically incapable of using all 3 of them.
That literally drives me nuts.
It's the only mech.
The one missile. No, well, actually, it's a common trend they used in even hero mechs, where they'll like put energy and ballistics on it, and they'll put 1 missile slot, and that's just always been a terrible idea for any of these hardpoint spreads. It's just not. It just doesn't. Who uses the 1 missile slot?
Well, but
on
specifically, what I'm talking
optimized
about
mech?
isn't. I don't remember what Awesome it is because I never bought them because they've always been
9M.
burned. The 9M has 2 energy and 1 missile in the CT, correct?
2 missiles in the CT.
2 missiles
Can't
in the
even
CT.
fit all that.
Yeah, so it's physically impossible to use all of those weapon slots. So if you're wanting to like just basic stuff about balancing mechs, like remove stuff like that, remove redundancies that just make stuff bad. And I would say that unusable weapon slots is bad.
Meanwhile, it has 1 missile slot in its left arm with only 2 tubes.
Hey
That's
man,
streak, man.
it's a straight. That's an LRM-20 right there.
Oh shit.
You know
Inbuilt
it.
chain fire.
Yeah, dude, straight up clan LRM-20 right there. Okay, so yeah, dragons are still not useful. Sadly, I love them though. I want my flame to be useful. I almost ran him against CSJ. I was this close because I was like, they're fast. I could do it, and I was like, nah. All right, so there was some other stuff in the patch notes. I don't know if you guys have looked it over recently. Is there anything else you wanted to go over about it? This was sort of the stuff that I picked as core information.
Did we mention that even the 4 SP Hunchback has that right torso buff, so that
What?
the
Seriously?
symmetrical,
Yeah.
It does,
yeah.
yeah.
So the symmetrical Hunchback now has a shield side for those
What?
interested in using it.
Why? Oh my god.
Well, they actually did the same thing before. Before they readjusted the hitboxes, and this is credit to J-Man5 for pointing it out, the back right torso of the Hunchbacks was insanely small, so you could put like 1 armor on the back.
Yeah, did you
And
not
you could
watch
front load
the
it.
Beef's party back video where he does that?
Dude, it's
Right.
He scrolls down and looks at the hitbox. He's like, "Oh wait, hold on a sec." He goes back, puts 1 armor on it. Yeah, no, it's just kind of silly. Back armor was fucking tiny.
But Yeah, my point is that's even on the 4S. That was even on the 4SP. I'm not sure. I don't think it still is, but that quality was through all the hunchbacks. Just a small right torso, back hitbox. So now you have the right torso buff for all of the hunchbacks, including the 4SP, which doesn't even have a hunch. And it's like, okay, you got a shield side now, I guess.
Yep. Other like pseudo notable, just worth mentioning features. We got the arm lock key back. Hella excited about that. New player elo has been reduced and will remain locked for the first 25 matches. Thank God.
Have they said how low it is now?
They did
No,
not.
they have
Actually,
not.
Carl, how low
Carl,
is it?
you're in chat. How much did you reduce it by? All LRMs had their impulse reduced to 0.3 from 0.4, which still doesn't fix the problem that clan LRMs shoot missiles individually, and you get the same impulse from a cluster of 20 IS missiles as you do from one fucking clan LRM.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Like, yeah. I don't, yeah, so I'm still slightly irked about that. Clan LRMs need to be on an individual basis, because otherwise you're getting the same screen shake all the time. Like, the reason back when LRMs weren't great, and the only LRM boat that people were using was that A1, it was because it caused so much screen shake, because you had 6 LRM5s, and you were constantly hitting your opponent. Every clan LRM launcher does that for free. Like, that's every clan LRM. Like, it's, yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than that. Got SLI for performance.
Actually,
apparently doesn't work.
No, you need to make your own custom profile for it. They don't actually have a profile for it in the drivers.
Womp womp.
It's delayed by bugs officially on the patch post. It was crossed out, the SLI support. It says delayed by bugs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because when Queen Blade when Queen Blade's sister's
Oh
dog
my god.
pissed on his GTX 770, he was gonna go back and SLI all of his GTX 560s back together, but then he tried to look it up and it said delayed. So
Yeah, this seriously happened, by the way.
That's unfortunate.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Can you run that by me again?
So,
What?
Queen Blade's
Queen Blade's sister's dog apparently decided
Blade's
to
wife's
have,
sister.
have a Wii on his PC, and it fried his GTX 770.
the one he won at the launch event.
Yeah, the one he won at the launch event.
That's brutal.
Yep, the biggest tragedy lately in MWO. We got a few bug fixes. We got the machine gun fix for servers and private matches and stuff like that, which I think has been causing some desyncs for individual players, but I haven't noticed the massive entire server gets wrecked desync in a private match. Have you?
Well, considering we brought how many embers tonight?
Oh my god, that's true.
and-
Yeah, no, totally. That
Quite
would
a
have
bit.
crashed the shit out of the game.
Quite a bit.
Yep. But
The only person that keeps I think individuals keep
Defunct.
experiencing it, but I feel like running the repair tool probably actually does help now.
yeah,
I think beforehand it was like run a repair tool and then everyone still crashed, whereas now it's like no one will crash, but maybe individuals need to run a repair tool, clear their files out, and see what's going on.
Yeah, because Defunct was having problems with it, and then he ran the repair tool, and he seemed to be okay. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the patch notes, unless you guys have anything else you want to mention.
An unlisted patch note that I noticed my first drop, they changed the target squares when you're in game and you're targeting another mech. It's actually a little bit folded now. It's not as thin as it was before. I don't know if anyone noticed that.
I haven't. No.
I have not
I'm pretty
noticed
sure
that.
it's different.
With like
Completely
a
oblivious.
it's like 1,000 hours in this game, you think I would, but
I only have 500. I added it up at 530. 530.
I'll have to add it up
It's
at
not
some point,
bad.
but not right now.
Casual.
Well, now.
Fucking casual, Eddie. God.
Fucking casual.
Hold on, let me buy you a filthy casual T-shirt. I'll send it to you. All right, so
1,000 per bus.
All praise Carl. He just answered the question. It was moved down to 900.
what
For
was
the
it at
new
before?
elo.
Thanks, Carl.
1,100.
That's actually pretty damn good then.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. Love
Isn't
you.
like stock base elo? I'm probably talking out of my ass, but isn't like the base like normally 1,200 for like just
1100.
average?
The old one was 1100.
1,100. That's what I thought. Okay. Right.
Average elo was 1300. Or at least it was when that graph was released ages ago.
What are you laughing at, Heim?
Now we only need to find a new player and see. Oh well, I guess we can just roll alt accounts and see what it's like. That'll be scientific.
How'd I
Yeah.
get the filthy casual? What happened?
Oh, somebody gave you the fill. That's panic. That's totally panic.
No, I didn't fucking do anything.
I didn't do it, and then it's Siri. Siri did it. So you just
I
It was
did.
The
Oh,
only
look at
time
all
I
you
use
guys.
admin
Siri, why
Never
would you do that?
servers to make
Addy.
people
Come
look like
on,
dicks.
it was Addy.
Siri moves the entire
Addy,
sig
don't
room.
you fucking do that. You added yourself to you
Sig-
added yourself to it.
Siri moves the entire sig room to the top of the server so we can check on them without scrolling down
Yeah,
before the
I saw
match.
that.
I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Stop.
There was no word. I still like. What the fuck? What was the issue?
That's what those little arrows on the left are for, Brett.
Yeah, dude, you can just
You
collapse
can
everything.
minimize the different groups, and you can get down to sig pretty easy.
I was also keeping track of the Keshik versus SWK games.
Oh,
Oh, how did that go, by the
discuss
way?
this,
I'm
I'm sorry.
assuming SWK won, but
They won 2-1-2.
okay.
So they were.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, wow.
That's actually pretty. I want to watch that later. Then wow.
I'll have to go back and watch
I
it. Did
only
you?
caught the last two drops. Game 4 was. Oh, I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah, don't
Continue.
spoil it. But I'm sure Twinkie was streaming or somebody was streaming, so we can go check that out later.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, so on to the Gauss PPC stuff. So so here's what I want to do. I want to talk about what they plan to do, and we'll just give our quick feedback about why I'm sure none of you like it. And then I know Panic and I have the same idea, and I think Heim has a similar idea about how to fix it. And then I want to talk about the systems that we all argued about in TS with each other for an hour after we read that post, and then came up with about how we would fix it instead. So, Siri, do you want to, as co-host, because I want to get myself another beer, do you want to go through the proposed change?
Sure. There are two changes proposed. One of them is to massively drop PPC velocity to basically AC20 velocity. I think it's 650. If I'm correct, that is the current AC20 velocity. So basically, you remember the... Oh god, what was it? I think it was Mech Assault. It was like just a slow-moving orb that...
Lock on.
honed in.
Yeah. It was the third.
This is going to
level-
be super
third
slow.
level PPC. Third level PPC. Super slow lock on. It was
Time,
actually
mention your
kind of.
credentials. Your Mech Assault credentials. Mention them.
Oh yeah. Eddie wants me to mention this. I actually am a regional Mech Assault champion from when I was 12 years old. I beat a bunch of 35-year-old men, and they asked me how to play the game, and I was like, I don't know, take this Mad Cat and shoot PPCs and missiles, and that's how I got here. That's
It's funny how nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no. Autocannons now, not missiles. PPCs and autocannons.
Close enough.
But PPC.
Anyways,
Mech Assault was terrible. We should move on.
Oh god.
the
Jesus.
other change...
How did you get on that? I leave
proposed?
for a minute!
Nobody cares, Waffle. The other proposed change, the primary proposed change, was that you could only fire a grand total combined of 2 Gauss or PPCs at one time before there would be a hard lockout for half a second before you could fire another pair of 2. So, heavy-handed much? Yeah. So, go.
I think we all universally hate that change, and the reason why is that IS balance. Can we all agree that IS balance is basically near perfect, besides small lasers and flamers and shit like that?
Small lasers,
Near.
AC2s, PPCs need a little bit of a
Little
hit.
bit.
Mhm.
And
They're still not really super
Flamers.
big downside to things.
flamers.
I still do think that I personally, as someone who likes to snipe, I still feel like there's still sort of an advantage for longer range engagements, and it's partly because of the maps that dictate it, but could also be because of the weapon values. I think if
Well,
we
so-
do see a change to the PPC soon, it's going to change very quickly.
So I don't think, but here's the thing, like what this sounds like it's doing is trying to make the PPC not worthwhile, and I think that sniping should still be a valuable option. It just shouldn't be the most valuable option. There should be cons to it, and
Right.
stuff like that. So yeah,
Well,
that's... Go ahead.
here's the thing. Suddenly, your 2 PPC Gauss Dragon Slayer is just hard eliminated.
Yep.
But your 2 PPC
And you
2
can't
AC5
really run
one is
the-
still perfectly fine.
Yeah, which is it's not as much of a problem anymore with
They do
the
different
jets,
things,
but
though, yeah.
Yeah, but
Like,
the
the reason behind
also-
that, I think, is that long range. He cares about long range alphas, right? Not just the AC5 isn't really long range anymore because the damage drop off nerf.
Yep.
And this
Yeah,
is going
well,
back
if
to
you
what you're
take the
saying about
long-range
IS bounds
AC5 weapon module, then actually you get a little bit more heat, but you're allowed to snipe at exactly 37 farther meters and do the equivalent damage with only 7
I would move you out of channel, but then we wouldn't be talking this way.
Siri has the angry face on right now. I think I'm mad at him.
Dude, he gets
twice.
mad when I make fun of people who talk numbers because they're his favorite. And to be fair, his numbers are always like pretty close, and it is useful and helpful, but stuff like that. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
The point you were getting at with IS bounds being almost perfect, with only a couple outliers to fix, obvious ones, and, you know, lerms, how they work just overall, is that the real boogeyman for this, yes, I'm stealing your words, Addy, is the direwolf with 2 Gauss and 2 ER PPC. And don't nerf everything to solve that one isolated case. And it doesn't even solve that isolated case, because say you hard nerf 2 Gauss, 2 ER PPCs just out of the equation, well, the space whale, as we call it, with 2 Gauss, 2 ER large, and 6 ER medium lasers, that's a 94.5 point alpha if you can hold the burn, is just going to be like, well, I'm right here. There's nothing I care about. Nerf the ER PPCs, we're right here and we're actually doing more damage to, say, legs. And so you have to go and address the root of the issue, which is the direwolf, instead of just this weapon combo is not good anymore.
It has an absolute royal metric ass ton of hard points.
Holy God, it does.
Dear God, 100-ton mech with that much. But yeah, regardless, Siri's completely right. Regardless of what you actually nerf, like if you take if you use a hand grenade to like kill, it's like using a hand grenade to kill an ant or something like that. You're really just like you're gonna destroy a lot more shit, and then you're not gonna actually get the root of the issue.
To be
and
fair,
it's gonna ruin a lot more mechs than just that one, and that one's actually just it's gonna keep coming back. Just because it's got a fuck ton of hard points, you can do whatever you want with it. It's still going to be good, much. I mean, not whatever, but like there's a relatively large number of builds that will be broken that you can make on that map due to its
just this is the most set up. This is currently the most effective one, which is why everybody's using it. There will be a next effective one. I'd like to throw my hat in for the quad UX 6ER small. That one's still pretty fun if you get in close.
I'd actually argue that the Space Whale at sub 500 sub standoff sort of engagements is better than the ERPPC build. If you're going to do any sort of like aggressive pushing action, that laser build is better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally, because you have more constant fire and like because you're gonna have to stay and kind of look.
Your DPS is higher, isn't it? Just because the medium lasers are huge.
Straight up.
I think what they're trying to address with this, if the proposed change does go in, is just the long range pinpoint damage is annoying, but it's difficult to do. PPC Gauss is not exactly easy to use. It's like over 600, 700 meters. Which is kind of the problem range for a lot of people.
Tell that to the hunchback I killed from like across Alpine, but yeah.
I don't think you're the average player though.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Well, so that's the constant thing we're gonna run into is the gap between like good players and average players. So that's always something we have to keep in mind. But I think we all agree that this isn't the way to change it. Correct?
Correct.
No. I think we also need to say why.
Okay.
Right,
yep. Go ahead.
Everyone knows how strong clan ER large lasers are right now. Now, if the goal is to prevent super long range, fire and strong fire, well, you nerf PPC Gauss. What do you get instead? You get clan ER large lasers. In comp play, we don't see clan ER large lasers much at all because clans are not allowed. Well, yeah, but
that's not clan ER large.
They are clan.
It would have been if I had let them use clans during that drop.
Yep.
Like, don't give me that shit. You know that would have been clan ER larges. Don't try that. You've hit them in the queue.
ER large lasers, IS ones, are 675 meters. C clan ER large are 890. Now you stick on a target computer on that. My favorite build to use as an example for this is the Warhawk with 5 C ERLs, and target computer 5. You have a range of 950-ish. Yeah.
Have you recalculated that with the weapon module?
No, I probably should though. Anyway, so yeah, You go to that mech, you're going to get people shooting, and this is hit scan. Anyone can use this for at least a little bit of the duration. You stick on an advanced zoom module, and it's not very difficult. You're going to have that, people shooting at 1,000 meters, doing a lot of effective damage because these lasers do 11 damage each. And yeah, it's just going to turn the game into some super long-range standoff where brawlers will not be able to close at all. You need PPC Gauss right now to close, as those mechs beat back the large laser mechs, and then you bring in your brawlers to go clean up. But without PPC Gauss being 2 PPC, 1 Gauss, the trades aren't effective anymore against Clanny or large laser mechs.
Yep.
So play it.
Sorry. Yeah, so Eddie's right. Now, I know Panic and I talked about this, and I don't know if the rest of you talked about this. So there has been a fairly prominent solution that a lot of people have talked about. I think I'm not going to bother trying to give credit to the original poster, but it's the energy concept. The fact that your mech has a finite source of energy to be used during a single alpha. And it'd be like another bar like heat. And this would be, and again, different people have different interpretations of this, but this would be like the ability to have, you'd be able to get rid of ghost heat with this. It'd be each weapon generates a certain amount of energy, and you tailor that energy draw based on which builds you want to target. So like the Gauss rifle and the ERP-PC, for example, take the most energy because they are, they logically make sense. Gauss rifles, a bunch of magnets and shit. So then you have a finite amount of energy that your mech uses, and once you draw through that, you suffer longer cooldown on weapons and what was it, like movement and shit like that. I think Bill had a really, really detailed post about this, didn't he? Along with a couple other people.
I'll see if I can find it for you.
But so it's a good idea, and I like it, and I've talked to a bunch of people about it. And it adds another thing to keep track of in MechWarrior, but it adds a constant instead of stuff that you don't really know exists, like ghost heat and stuff like that.
I sort of went down that tangent, and then after the fact, I was like, I don't actually know if this is like a really good solution because it seems super complicated, and it probably has a lot of problems. But just on the surface, I was trying to scramble for something that really wasn't like. Or didn't seem to just another band-aid, and didn't seem to be hitting a whole lot of things very difficult or very hard, because you could use some of those numbers or whatever you're going to implement as far as a secondary bar or whatever to tune other weapon systems and other builds that might get out of hand. Nothing else in the game right now really does a huge. I mean, like the only thing I could think of was. That you could tune with this would be like the fact that you don't generate any ghost heat using the 12ER Smalls 4 machine guns and the Nova, but really that's not an issue because there's so much long range stuff that you can't even close with that thing. Bullets, arms, and legs off really fast. The only mech that's a problem right now is the Direwolf. So
yeah, that's the big thing here. There's only one mech that's a problem.
Yeah, it's only one mech.
I think that is, but that's the thing though, is I think that
sheet, not everything else.
I think that
you
also
need to burn the whole forest down, but like.
But so that's the thing is I don't think that
was going to affect everything. Then, I mean, you could implement something that wasn't going to kill that wasn't going to completely kill other builds. But a better option might be just to nerf the Direwolf itself.
Well, so the problem we're getting to right now is we're getting to a build that Ghost Heat can address, because Ghost Heat actually, like it or not, Ghost Heat did fix the problems that it was designed to fix. But like the 4 PPC Stalker and shit like that, it did fix that. But the problem that we have now is that this doesn't apply to the standard rules of Ghost Heat, and if you made it apply, then you'd be nerfing anything that carries 2 PPCs or anything that carries 2 Gauss rifles, which you don't want to do. So you have to come up with, like, I don't know, I want to see a uniform change instead of just, like, a singular change, if that makes sense. Like, find a way to roll the old Ghost Heat system into something new in a different mechanic that also you can then make affect the dual PPC Gauss rifle build.
Yeah, that'd be just.
I mean, you guys. Like, actually, there's. I don't even think that's the problem build. I think that the 3 ERPPC 2 Gauss.
Oh God.
As Vils likes Vilzishi, as he likes to call it.
Hopped in the channel today and told me that. I liked that name.
Yeah. But, I mean, he doesn't even play the game, and he linked me to Smurfy, and I started playing the thing, and there was a point where the Ghost Heat really does not matter. You fire all 3 PPCs 2 Gauss, and then you fire 2 PPCs 2 Gauss, and then 1 PPC 2 Gauss, and you wait for cooldown and go behind cover and rinse and repeat. I've had the UAC laser direwolves rush me full on, and in 1 alpha I take off their side torso, and they look around like, wait a minute, I had more, where'd they go? You can literally one-shot boxes, adders, any light mech. You can one-shot a blackjack even with a side torso. It's brutal. Like, and it's about the alpha strikes. Like, Ghost Heat doesn't matter at that point. The 2 PPC Gauss isn't even a problem compared to that. It's an extra 15 damage, and it's enough damage to just put a mech down without even trying. It's pretty much like a Highlander 732. Except with more firepower and better heat efficiency, which is pretty crazy.
Get an extra Gauss.
The 2
rifle.
Gausses. Yeah, the 2 Gauss and 1 PPC is good enough, and then you have that full alpha before you even get to that point. So, I mean, the thing is just a monster. I don't. It's just the nature of the direwolf in general. Right when that thing came out, and we saw that everyone saw the hard points, they were like, This is like it's like the second coming of the Stalker. If I remember correctly, the Stalker was the first mech that had that first. It had a lot of hard points. Yeah. Well, not only 4 PPCs, but it had a lot of hard points. So you could put like 5 medium lasers, 4 SRM-6 Artemis on it, and it was just like the nastiest brawler.
Yeah, I remember. The first day the Stalker came out. I was running around and made DDC and wrecking people the day before, and like charged up onto like it was like River City or something like that, and charged up to the paint, and I got 1 shot, and I was like, okay, well that was not fun. What the hell hit me? It was whatever the SRM medium laser Stalker. That was the last thing that came out. That was just like kind of like, all right, well that's a problem.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind that's not even a ranged. The direwolf with 3 PPCs 2 Gauss can shoot at like 1,000 meters and shoot
Anywhere.
at 0 meters.
Yep.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like, the speed doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Like, the fact that you have that alpha, you can hold off like 2 mechs by yourself. I'm not even kidding. It's just, I don't. They will have, I think, nerf the direwolf specifically. And I think what would be a good idea is a negative quirk, just like they introduced to other mechs, but that's not in the form of an omnipod. I don't know if that's something they're willing to core. It's something that I kind of just thought of right now, but like a
That
negative
happens to me all the time.
dissipation quirk for all of the energy hard points that direwolf has.
Yep.
Here's one though. Would that be... See, you would still get the alpha off, but your damage would be less over time. What if it was a minus capacity, heat capacity nerf instead?
That's also a
Ooh.
good point. I think it. Yeah, I think
like that.
actually. Yeah.
And this actually spirals into my next point, or my kind of point, is that I dislike all of these different energy systems where, oh god, my weapon has draw, whatever, because all it is doing is introducing micro heat into the macro heat. You've got now just like 2 energy resources you're drawing on. You only need 1, and it comes from the heat system we have kind of falling apart because it's high capacity, low dissipation. And I do feel it would be better, like, you're looking at these problems of, well, we need to limit alphas. Well, what if you just don't have enough heat to fire, like, these 2 or 3 PPCs in the first place? So, I would be in favor of rebalancing it towards, say, a fixed heat capacity of, I don't know, like 40, and everything is, say, like true double heat sinks.
Well, all right, on the double heatsink points, I'm going to do the math. Up to 7, I think it's 17 DHS, you do have true DHS, essentially. I'm not sure how he did the math.
No, the first 10 are true DHS. The next 7 are still 1.6.
He was comparing it to tabletop, and the dissipation rates there.
Why the hell are we comparing it to tabletop?
Because when people bring up true DHS, they usually, go to tabletop because that's what I was like.
No,
That's actually a
roll
really
dice.
good point. It
Let's
seems
roll
like a
dice,
more
guys.
elegant solution than anything that anyone's come up with. Like I said, I just pulled that. It's like I pulled like energy out of my ass on the day that the thing came out because I was frustrated. But I didn't want to come in here swinging for an energy system because after thinking about it, it just seems needlessly complicated, just like Ghost Heat was.
Yeah, it does.
Well, and
I was
so
hoping you could
It's
ditch.
just
I was
a little
hoping
too
you could
much.
move to a different system and potentially ditch Ghost Heat. But actually, with Series system, you can potentially ditch Ghost Heat as well because it would eliminate the same builds while not really. It would be like what I hate about the newest change is that it's a very hard limit on something that doesn't need to be a hard limit. Like Ghost Heat's okay because you can still run a 6 PPC stalker, and when you pull the damn trigger, they all fire. That's great. That's what I want. I mean, I don't you'll blow up, but you could do it. But I hate not being able to pull the trigger is frustrating. Because if I put it on my mech, if I'm that stupid, then I want to be able to do it. If that makes any sense. It's not gonna.
No,
but-
it does, actually. I agree with you, and I believe I said this in a Reddit comment. Ghost Heat is good. I don't have an issue with it. I have an issue with the fact that they haven't touched like use since it's been introduced, and the fact that it outright nerfs some mechs. Like you were saying, I don't mind that it hurts this 4 PPC, 6 PPC stalker a lot, but like bringing it a little bit closer to viability, that way you're opening up customization without making those builds overpowered. It might be the way to go. I don't know. It just opens up build diversity. Like no one is going to only go for PPCs if you can't fire them that often. But it's at this point where if you fire that many PPCs, you just shut down. Like it's not even viable to have on the mech. Period. It just doesn't even make sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I
the
think
reason that I suggested that again, back to the thinking along the lines of wanting to allow some of these to actually be out there.
This is the quote I was going to go for.
I wish you could take the 6 PPC stalker, but I don't want you to be able to alpha me with it every time the PPCs come off cooldown. But I also would like to be able to run it without shooting it and dying, if that makes any sense. Like that sort of to eliminate that sort of play style, I think is not a good option because it's that acted as I know you can build different builds to get to the same effect of having a 60-point pinpoint nuke from however many meters, but I just think to eliminate the 6 PPC stalker or eliminate this direwolf build entirely is not the right option. To move towards something that will allow people to run that, but it either is not going to be as effective or you need a very high skill level to be able to employ something like that. You need what we call a specialist. That's a tabletop, sort of thing where you could specialize. If you play the RP edition, you can specialize and you can actually get a whole bunch of pilot quirks. You could invest your set of skills into being able to use something like, and that's like your thing. And I think that would actually draw a lot of players to want to play some of those builds. I mean, not competitive maybe not, but still just have the option on the table. If that makes any sense. I just don't like the fact that that's just not an option now. You just die. You click once and you're toast. You're done. Like my tabletop character is a goddamn melee character. He just runs up to you and punches you in the face. I've dropped the ability to fire everything at range in order to be able to come up to you and wreck you at close range with an axe that I pulled off of a hatchet man like 3 campaigns ago. I want that same level of I want to pilot a 6 PPC stalker, stand at the back, shoot once every so many seconds, and be able to do some damage or have some effect without dying in one go. But I don't know if there's a way to accomplish that, but I do like the idea of nerfing that heat capacity. It seems like a much more elegant solution in the close run in the near future.
So you need something the reason I jumped so hard on the energy thing was that it seemed like a solution to me where you could make changes in the long run with new builds that were coming. So we're going to get more mechs eventually, and it's going to lead to more problem builds. It just happens. That's how introducing new content works. So you need something that you're going to be able to change modularly to adapt with this. So when I looked at the energy solution, while it is complicated, I thought, all right, this is something that you can change. You can get rid of ghost heat, and now you can change how different values for different weapons as this becomes a problem. Because everything would have an energy draw no matter if it was a problem or not. So then eventually there are going to be builds that would just be like, wow, we didn't foresee this being a problem. We can change the energy draw on this weapon and only affect, this one build instead of all things or just nuking one mech. So that's why I like that, and I think that there are probably ways to get around it other than that. It was just the first one I read. I do like the dispersion and capacity for heat, though. That does seem good.
The problem I have fundamentally with that is that you'd be reactive, and you wouldn't be... I feel like if you lowered heat capacity, you could balance on more individual weapon basis with less concern about which chassis is going to come out and use it.
If you lowered heat... Wait, say that again.
Because by...
Give an example, man. Give an example, it'll help.
Okay, well, say there had only been one PPC, but you had already set whatever the heat value for it is at high enough that, say it's like 16 heat, and now you have two PPCs and it's going to be 32 heat, well that's going to shut you down, assuming there's a value of 30. And so like 3 PPCs and a Gauss or whatever else is coming along comboed with that, there's already going to be reasonable limits. Now you could... I feel also hand in hand with this, you would have to lower individual weapon rate of fires in order to make this sort of complement and make sense. Because otherwise, then...
I just feel like if you lower the heat threshold across all mechs, it just means that you're going to hurt more builds that way. Like, now how do you run like an ER large laser build? Or like the
how do you run
Hunchback...
something with sustained DPS?
The Hunchback,
Well,
the Hunchback energy boats are now going to be completely inviable if you do that. Because they create...
That's what I'm saying here, though, is that I feel a rate of fire change would have to go hand in hand with it. Because say you had the heat dissipation to only fire 2 medium lasers, and you could had enough heat dissipation to fire that every 3.5 seconds. So if under the current rate of fire, every time your lasers are up, you've already had the heat, there'd be no benefit to going beyond 2 ER large or whatever. But say if it was like longer, 7 seconds, 6-7 seconds, and while your second set, your first set that you fired isn't off cooldown yet, then there'd be a point to bringing more.
So your change would be aimed at like reducing all mechs' total number of weapons to increase like engagement, time, and fights is what I'm getting out of this.
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying is that if you did it without rate of fire, that would be the effect you get. Because you could just bring a minimal amount of weapons and repeatedly fire it off. If you bring it into sort of longer scale,
it's going to have the same. It's going to have the same thing though. Like if you lower rate of fire, you're going to be doing less DPS. If you bring less guns, you're going to be doing less DPS. The end result is still going to be the same of longer engagements, longer fights, less damage done per second.
Because at this point, oftentimes, after the first little while, you're limited by your heat dissipation. What I'm saying is that if it got to the point where you're not limited by heat dissipation, but rate of fire instead, then you would need to bring more weapons so that you have the available rate of fire to match your heat dissipation.
Okay. I think I get it. Not sure if I like it, but I think I get it. We're all sitting there like trying to figure out what we like best.
It's an interesting topic to say the least. I think I'm not sure if these heat systems and stuff that we were just talking about, like I think if they affect other other weapons like ballistics and missiles though, like I think the energy stuff is the problem with the heat capacity, to be honest. Like the 3 PPC, I like.
Yeah, I don't.
For example, you might say, here's how you could benefit the awesome. For example, if you ever equip 3 PPCs, your heat dissipation is much worse, or something like that. So you can still fire it, but your heat dissipates. Like the lasting heat effect of firing a PPC takes longer to dissipate than other weapons would. That's also another approach to it, because I think like adding in the missiles and ballistic to these heat capacity things, it hampers other builds as well and might cause issues, whereas if you focus on the energy boating that the issue is, you can solve problems without affecting anything else. That's something I'm just putting out. I really don't know.
Well, because
Makes
like
sense.
we mentioned it earlier, IS balance is pretty damn good. So we don't really want to fuck with IS balance. So we want a system that will keep everything pretty much the same, but only be able to target the direwolf basically. But you don't want to just make a targeted fix because that's confusing and irritating.
I also somewhat agree with because I've been tilting my head to the right to read the chat as Vils is going off on the laser sucking. Whereas you have to sort of at some point say that there's a little bit of a weakness, and I think it's some of the laser systems for the IS Max. Like balance is okay, but like for the IS Max, the lasers they're only effective on lighter max. You need a ballistics weapon on a medium or heavier assault in order to actually be effective. I think some of the mechs that are like primarily laser boats, like the 4P Hunchback is the only one that I've seen have great success with but it may be just a hitbox problem. I don't know if that's the same thing, but if you do something that affects those as well, like if you just target energy weapons, I think you're going to end up with a whole can of worms. Certain specific weapons maybe, but
The other thing is that this is such a major change that require the rebalancing of like all of the weapons.
Yeah.
And
true.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't see it ever
any of these
happening to
changes
that.
are definitely a project unto themselves.
It's a
No.
project I honestly don't think is really necessary at this point. I mean, if you think PPCs are overpowered, the speed changes are still an option. The thing still goes pretty fast, 1500 meters a second. It's only 500 less than a Gauss rifle.
Yeah, we should.
Heat
we
values
should
can
wait
be
and
adjusted
see.
on everything. It's like. Well,
The amusing
also
thing
would-
is that if you dropped PPC speed down to say like 1,000 or 1,100, which is actually more reasonable than 650, I'd say, is that it would sync better with AC5s again.
Yeah,
God.
Which
are
I think
AC5s
the
really a
slower
problem with the
speed-
JJs now?
Yeah.
But I think that's fine because it's after the velocity nerf on the AC5s, it was much harder to hit things at long range where there was more time for say a light to juke and change direction, and now your lead is just wrong.
It's true. Velocity change. I would like to see a velocity change on the PPC before we see like any huge change.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, let's just wait and. I think we should wait to see how this plays out. I don't know. Velocity changes have been pretty meaningful, like for
That's
the
true.
AC20,
The AC20.
AC10.
Yeah.
So
How would you
Sorry, go
proactively deal with the emergence of ER large lasers after that then?
They would need adjustments as well.
okay,
Well,
so
That weapon system.
Just add heat.
Clan late.
Let's say not even clans, but just regular IS,
Heat.
so that we keep IS balance okay.
Add more heat.
Duration. I would actually
Well,
want duration.
actually- yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna
duration
say
would be good too.
because
because
at
clans-
long distances, you
No, yeah,
can't
yep,
really
you're right.
FaceTime. Yeah,
Because with clans,
other weapons aren't going to be hitting you.
one of the reasons that the
I'd be
clan
okay with
the
that.
clan ones are so
Duration.
long. Yeah, if you added like a half second on the duration, even a full second maybe, that would be a huge nerf. Yeah, I like that actually. I would prefer I'd prefer duration over heat.
And that's a good point because the duration actually plays into it. Like, let's say you have someone there's two teams battling. They're both at two different ridges, 700, 800 meters apart, right? So let's say you have this slower PPC projectile in, and as a counter, like you guys were saying, if you increase the duration, the time required for the volley to occur is extended for both mechs. Like, you have to aim with the PPCs, and it takes time for them to get there, and that plays into the role of the ER large lasers having to, expose their mech for a longer period of time. So then it
Yep.
balances out on its own without making the ER larges overboard to every other weapon. Like, you have to face time. You have to show your mech for a longer period of time if you want to use those long range weapons, and that's not that big of a deal. Like, it's actually okay because you're at such a far distance that it's not that bad to expose your mech, but it still is because enemies know where you are, and you could still get hit with PPCs even though they're slower. I think that would be
Yep.
ideal if they did.
And if you still have a problem with PPC, you add a dissynced charge time to the PPC. So the PPC takes 0.5 seconds to warm up, and you get a second of cooldown, so that your charge times
no
are
more
complete-
charge times, please.
No, that was a joke. I'm not serious. Don't do that to the PPC. That would be terrible.
Yes, then it would look like absolute voodoo when you tried to run a PPC Gauss mech. He was like,
Oh God.
click both Gauss buttons, and then
You'd have to click your
release them at
gauze a
different
quarter.
times in order to sync the PPCs up.
You'd have to click the gauze
be
like a
impossible.
quarter second beforehand, and then click the PPC to charge them up to get the fight sync times to fire at the same time. Perfect, genius, high skill.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know
I
if
also
things
like
with
that
macroing
because
now.
you could actually dodge. You could dodge PPCs by moving erratically at long range, but you'd also have a harder time putting the ER large lasers over the target if you were doing that. At the same time,
Yep.
it would high skill with ER large lasers would be rewarded, whereas low skill would be punished with the Gauss PPC to the face.
I agree.
So
Increased duration. That's a great call.
Yep.
All right, so tally that up. In the end, we agreed that decrease PPC velocity, increase ER large duration. That was like the sum of that.
Now, would you do the same thing, just duration on the clan ER large, or is the range too high as well?
I think range is too
Oh,
high.
Range is way too
yeah.
high.
It's still
Range is
constant
high.
chip damage.
That's
ER
like obscene. That's
ER
just ridiculous.
lasers should not be affected by the targeting module.
I think that's kind of a secondary.
Oh no, that
function,
doesn't
their
work
base
then
stat
because
being
then
too good.
then you're just gonna get like large lasers with the same range as ER lasers. That's never mind. That doesn't work either. Yeah, just like I think the range would have to be cut. There's no way because like the duration for clan ERs is already huge. Is it the same as regular larges though?
No, regular large. What do you mean, like regular
Clans.
larges?
Sorry.
IS larges?
Are clan ERs the same duration as clan? Oh
Raffle,
shit.
you're a brilliant man, but you should stop talking now.
Oh.
You're digging yourself a hole.
Yep. I forgot. I was like, there are not clan regular lasers.
I almost think that IS ER large, you buff it or nerf it rather to like 1.4 or 1.5, and clan ER large should be like 1.8, 1.9.
Well, so the question that I meant to ask was the duration of the IS medium compared to the ER medium. What is the difference between the clan ER large?
It's like 0.2 seconds.
It's not that much.
ER
then.
large for clans is 1.5 seconds. Regular large and ER large for IS is 1 second.
0.5. Okay, that's kind of big. I would give it another 0.5 personally.
They also have a damage increase that makes up for the longer duration.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that
I do want to. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say ER large lasers are gonna be a problem, so I would increase the duration slightly again.
Sprawlface in the Twitch chat did point out that duration would also mean a recycle nerf as well, since it starts after the duration is over.
That's a good call.
Less DPS
Not necessarily.
overall.
You could compensate by cutting the cooldown.
I don't want to
You
do
could.
that
Oh, yeah,
though.
I mean,
I don't think you want to do that.
Right. Either case, DPS is something you look at after. But on the pure range, also 98% range advantage over IS regular large laser.
Are you serious?
And
Is
it's-
that math right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Regular
Jesus.
IS large is 450 meters, Raffle.
It's ridiculous.
What
Hilariously, does anyone know if they actually? I haven't looked. Does anyone know if they like took those ranges from the tabletop, like they usually from what I understand, like a lot of the ranges were taken from tabletop and then tweaked. Because that seems about right. As I recall, like IS large laser, you can shoot like halfway across one map sheet, and then you get like clan ER large lasers, you can shoot across like 2.5 map sheets. Some dumb like that. They're just inherently ridiculous. You needed to nerf them for a video game. There's no way you could import those data straight over. Anything like that.
Wow.
It's pretty absurd. Feel completely powerless in an IS mech versus a clan ER large laser boat.
I think I blew Raffle's mind.
I didn't realize it was 98%. Like, I knew it was a lot better, but I didn't think it was almost 100% better. Like, holy fuck,
Yeah.
that's stupid.
Yeah,
It's
they're
messed
ridiculous.
Wow. Okay. Well, alright, so we're
It could've
coming
been worse.
coming up on almost like an hour and a half. Do you have any last points we want to go over?
I think I want to address, people always say, clans are supposed to be better than IS.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
How are you
clan.
going to balance a
you.
video game if you have something inherently better than the other, unless you have a
Exactly.
disadvantage for
Makes
one of them?
sense.
That
And
also applies to people who want assault mechs to always stomp on light mechs.
God,
Also applies to you people.
Yep.
You're retarded, you people. Sorry. Just not
It's
sorry,
fine.
actually.
it's fine. Like, so that is something that is a problem. You have to have like the thing I keep talking about is that like we won't know for sure until we see clan versus IS. But even then, like every clan mech is faster than every IS mech except for the lights. Like the lights are the only
They've already
ones that
done
are
clan
screwed.
versus IS. IS gets
Yeah,
stopped.
the-
IS
yeah.
just stop the shit. And
Wisp
people are trying to say, oh wait, only the veterans have clan mechs. The trial mechs and IS are throwing it off. the new people in IS Mech are throwing it off.
I've seen
You know,
plenty
people
of
are saying
trash
that.
players
No,
in
it's coming.
clans.
Just wait until the clan
Yeah,
mechs start
I know.
getting released to get the first. They get to the you release a direwolf and all of a sudden it's gonna be like, oh, never mind, these are broken.
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah.
gonna be so
yeah,
much fun.
no doubt.
There's gonna
I
be
mean-
so many terrible direwolves, though. Think about people that have.
It's not. This game's not pay to win. It's win now. If you're patient, you can win later. It's okay.
Yeah,
The,
I like
the,
I like that.
pay to win right now. Yep. What
It's
were you
pay
gonna
to
say,
win
Siri?
for a limited time.
Right?
Debating whether I should say this.
This
point.
limited time off.
Go
Say
ahead,
it,
Siri.
Say it. Say it.
There
Gotta
are
be a
teams
man.
we face that bring all clan when we're practicing all IS, and the results are way closer than they should be. Like teams that if it had been like even ground, it would be a 12-0 stomp. It'll end up being like 12-6, 12-7.
Well, that also
Those games just
that.
suck.
I agree
Fuck
personally, but that also has to do with people not taking it super seriously in the queue.
No, I'm
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause,
this was,
like-
we have that problem.
No, because I was gonna say like the exact example I was
Decently
gonna use
legitimate
was we were running
focus.
practice the other night and we beat Lords running clans because they were fucking around.
Yeah, we caught them. We caught you guys with your pants down, like did some joke.
Yeah, you
and
did.
Stalkers and junk. And
We
we had a
were-
spider. That was kind of cute.
But like so you can't use the queue as like a metric
No.
for perfect forms
I'm
of
not
balance.
saying using the queue. I'm saying using the skill level comparison of two teams.
Right,
which are
but
known
that's what I'm saying.
factors.
Like, if you hit each other in queue, like if you're not scrimming and like serious face, ready to go every single time, you're gonna get varying results. Because like, you can run into a 12-man team that maybe you picked up two guys you don't really know that well who aren't really that great because you wanted 12, you didn't want 10, and maybe they aren't that great. Or you can just all be shit-faced on like a Wednesday night and be like, oh, let's play Mech Warrior, guys! And then you run into somebody running all clans and get your shit rolled. Like, that doesn't...
Raffle, my point here is that those factors did not apply to these matches.
You're saying that
Yeah.
they got into
Well,
that
just-
game and
we'll
were like,
just
100%,
move on to-
alright guys,
move on to
competition
the point,
time.
which is that clan mechs are inherently better. This is wrong. This is a video game. You can't do that. There has to be a give and take,
Yes.
right? I think that was where we were going with that.
That is
It
the
needs
point.
to be balanced. It needs to be properly balanced, regardless of what they're
Yep.
supposed to do.
And you can balance them in different ways. Like, you can have clans be way more deadly at long range, but absolute shit up close. Or, like, their weapons just take forever to fire, so you're doing a ton of damage in a couple shots, but you only get those shots, like, every 15 seconds or something ridiculous like that. But right now, clans are just superior.
I think they actually did that. Didn't they do that? Like, wasn't that the point of making the ACs like the little burst fire stuff? Was
Dude, the
like,
A-
all right, well, they're
ACs are fine,
you know,
though.
ACs
That's
work
why
perfectly.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
love
that's
that.
what I was saying. Though. That was the point. That's what I was saying. Is that those are now really not that great like at range. Whereas the IS mechs with the AC5s and the Victors and whatnot can still deploy ACs effectively at like at medium to almost long range. Whereas the clans need to get the problem is with other weapon systems like the PPCs with the splash damage. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. But they're still sort of unbalanced, I think, potentially. With the ER's lasers and some of the laser systems, the range increases, I think, just make them too many worlds better than the IS systems. The duration, increasing the duration of the beam was I think also a pretty slick idea, but it didn't quite compensate for the just kind of ridiculous range buff. I mean, they did have some good thoughts there. There was something good to be had there.
Yeah, in the end, this is. I mean, clans have been more balanced than they ever have been in any other Mech Warrior game.
Agreed.
So,
Which isn't saying much.
no, not really saying much, but
Well,
in the end, it's really
they are
it's not like- it's not like
significantly
we're
better
losing-
balanced.
You didn't need to
Comparative.
balance them in other Mech Warrior games because the damn single player campaign, dude. You just go in there and as soon as you get as soon as your Merc pilot hit, whatever drop that gave you clans, it's all IS stuff coming off all my mechs. Start trade it out, it's whatever. The online play in those games was secondary, and it's sort of just since this is an entirely online, experience where you have other pilots who aren't stupid AI running around that you don't care about. You care about the experience for both players. So you want the guy piloting IS stuff to feel like he has a swinging chance or a fighting chance at taking down the clan. But you want the clan pilot to feel like he's piloting a clan mech and not, some piece of crap.
Yep.
It's hard to do.
It is. Okay, we're at about an hour and a half. Any last
I think
thoughts?
you said that 20 minutes ago.
Well, because I knew we were going to talk longer. We actually are at about an hour and a half now. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Is there any last thoughts we have to mention about this stuff?
That
Killer.
was very expensive talk, actually.
Yeah, I think we actually got through a lot of information really quickly and came up with decent solutions, so I'm happy with it for tonight. Alright, so that means shoutouts. Time.
I want to give a shout out to Vils for showing me the Vilzishi and allowing me to kill 8 mech in 1 minute and 25 seconds on Forest Colony Snow
Please
the other
tell me
day.
there's a highlight of that.
I have a screenshot. I wasn't streaming.
Oh, you didn't stream it. You
Sun
suck.
Cobra and Schopenhauer were there. It was like I got into the match was only 2 minutes and 44 seconds long, and I got into the battle, and then within a minute and 25, I had literally killed 8 mechs and did 791 damage. It was the most fun I've had playing the game since I was running the 2 PPC Gauss misery. But yeah, I just want to Vils for allowing me to feel that again. It's fun times.
Vils let Heim feel just one more time.
Yeah, just once. Just once.
Alright, Addy.
Shout out to Wispy for now missing 3 SWK related functions due to falling asleep.
Are you serious?
Yep, 3. He also did a scrimmage against them too, so I would have been 4. But he's missed 3 for sure. Yeah, that's all my
That's my
shout-outs are.
favorite
Oh, yeah.
running joke in the community, by the way. That Wispy just can't stay awake for an SWK match.
He can't.
No, he can't, man. He just he was in the chat and he was so sleepy when he was talking, and then he just left.
He just left. Yeah, he just left. I was like,
It's better than
yeah,
I was
Pisces,
like,
who
I'm too tired.
But Pisces physically doesn't wake up for matches. He just his day hasn't started yet. God.
Secretly, it's probably because he's smurfing one of the SWK accounts.
Oh,
Playing
probably.
for them.
He doesn't even, he doesn't even play lights anymore. He plays mediums. It annoys me. I lost the light pilot. I have a fucking medium. Who gives a shit about Nova? Fuck you, Wispy.
Alright,
Oh my.
Panic, shoutouts.
You might shout out to Lemon Muffin. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to.
God damn it.
No,
Dude, Kyle.
I'll shout out to Queen's sister's dog for pissing on his GTX 770. That's pretty awesome.
What?
That's the highlight of my week.
Yep.
Wait.
We didn't hear
You
this
not
story?
hear it
We
earlier?
told this story.
Yeah,
We said it
you?
like twice.
Alright, Queen Blade's wife's sister had their dog over, and it pissed on Queen Blade's computer, and it blew out, it short-circuited the 770 he won at the launch event.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
should.
You should make sure to PM him about it. Be like, Queen,
And
I'm
our
so
master
sorry.
tactician
Oh, well.
Skittles the cat. I'm done.
Perfect.
Oh,
Alright.
Can I have sorry, can I have another shout out, Ruffle?
God, no! Yes, of course, go ahead.
What?
Okay. So, shout outs to White Death for the best rage North America. Has everyone seen that video?
Oh god, I feel like I'm gonna regret asking, but no, I have not.
You haven't? Oh, okay. Wait, let me find it again. Well, go other shout outs. I'll link it.
Alright,
find it.
Siri, give your shout out.
2 shoutouts. My first one is to Bill. I'm glad you're not dead. I was worried for a while.
Dude, that's what I
And
got.
My second one is to Turtle. My second one is to turtles, especially in a cave.
Ooh.
That seems like a veiled insult of some kind.
Also, my third shoutout is to Jenners that actually have modules now. Fuck yeah.
I like that at least Addy asks me if he can have another shout out. Siri's like, no, I'm gonna take it.
Siri.
Siri's the co-host. He dictates his
Oh,
own
yeah.
shoutouts.
Oh yeah. Alright, that means it's my turn. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being on the show. Really appreciate it. We had some awesome discussion tonight. Got through some good stuff. We will... I don't know when the next time Probably cast your guys' match, actually. Or the Lord's SWK match. Or Eddie and Heim, were you guys planning on doing that?
The Lord's SWK match?
No, sorry. You got the SJR SWK match.
Oh yeah, I could do that. We could do
Okay.
that tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I would love to do it. I don't know when it's going to be scheduled for, but we'll see. Other than that, if there's information, we'll have War Room next week. If not, we're not going to pull a shot out of our ass for nothing, because there's no point in like talking about things that don't matter. So we've
Found
gone.
it.
Wait, what did we do for the last like hour and 40-something minutes?
Oh, that's right. It's all a video game, and none of this actually matters.
I found it. There's the link. Here's the link in right here, Ruffle.
Oh god, I'll watch this after the stream.
Probably
all right.
a good idea.
Good
Yeah,
job,
but
good job.
so, as always, thank you everybody for watching. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on YouTube, click follow on the Twitch channel. I really appreciate everybody being here, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.